Welcome to Career Explorer Live. We are here today to talk a little bit about filmmaking careers, and my name is Tina Swanek. I'm the Career Explorer Northwest producer for KSPS PBS Public Television in Spokane, Washington. Career Explorer Northwest Live is an interactive Zoom event that connects young people with professionals so they can learn about careers and career paths. And today's event is actually a joint Career Explore Northwest Live and Business After School event brought to you in partnership by KSPS PBS and Greater Spokane Incorporated. And here to welcome you from GSI is Director of Education and Talent, Rebecca Clemens.
Welcome to Career Explore Northwest Live. I'm Rebecca Clemens, Director of Education and Talent at Greater Spokane Incorporated and co-lead of the Regional Network of Career Connect Northeast. Greater Spokane Incorporated is Spokane's Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development organization. We are excited to bring you today's event, a collaboration between Career Explore Northwest Live and the Business After School program. This interactive Zoom session is designed to connect you with professionals across a variety of industries, helping you explore different career paths and gain real-world insights. GSI is proud to partner with KSPS PBS to make this experience possible, and we look forward to an engaging and informative session with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We're very grateful for our partnership with GSI. We work with them on many different types of projects and events, and they're a fantastic partner. During today's event, we'll be exploring filmmaker careers with the help of our special guest, Megan Schuyler Kennedy. And Megan is a documentary filmmaker and founder of Rogue Heart Media, SPC, a B Corp certified nonfiction media studio, celebrating 14 years in business in Spokane, Washington. She holds a bachelor's degree in broadcast production and management from Washington State University and has spent the last 20 years producing videos across the region, from 30-second public service announcement campaigns to complex long-form human interest documentaries, as well as developing dynamic multimedia campaigns. Rogue Heart is committed to developing media that makes a difference through their work with a variety of client partners, including purpose-driven businesses, nonprofits, and governments. Hello, Megan. Thank you so much for being here today and being willing to share information about your career and career path with our student guests.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's been quite the season, and I'm so thrilled to see what a robust program Colville has. You guys, I can't wait to ask you some questions about your fun toys you got there.
Okay. We will hear more from Megan in just a few minutes, but I quickly want to introduce our high school guests today. Joining our event are students from Colville High School with video production instructor Brent Purvis. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules today to be here and learn more about filmmaking careers.
Wave.
Oh, thank you very much. Great to see you. Before we get started, I wanted to quickly share the agenda for today's event. First, Megan will tell us a little bit about her education and career journeys, and then we'll open the floor for questions from our student guests. Okay, so let's get started. Again, welcome, Megan. Would you mind sharing a little about your education and career journeys?
Sure thing. Yeah, so hi y'all. This is such a cool opportunity. I can't wait to get into the Q&A portion. That is the part of my job that I love the most, honestly. Where I'm at now, I run a small shop in North Spokane. I have a team of 4, and we do primarily nonfiction media, photography, video, social media marketing, and a lot of writing and other, ancillary services that go along with it. But the path to get here, I don't want to talk too long about, but I got a preview on Luke's question there, so I'll touch on some history real quick. But I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, being homeschooled, so my school path was a little different. But by the time I was your age, I was already dead set on filmmaking as a pathway. I, at 15, got my first job at Baskin-Robbins and saved up my tip money and went to the pawn shop and bought my first 35mm camera, and also somehow convinced the local community access TV station to hire me too. So I was pulling cable at the 4th of July parade and doing anything I could do to get hands-on with the gear at the time. That being as many years ago as it was, the gear has changed a lot. So that's kind of a fun thing to maybe talk a little bit about today too. But from those kind of more like entry-level opportunities, I did end up going to WSU after finishing Running Start. So I had 2 years in Pullman, and they have a great program there that's focused on more of like the journalism or news track. It's called the Edward R. Murrow College of Communication. And coursework was great exposure to the field, but then also there are career exposure opportunities there on campus. Of course, they've got a great football team. So I was, again, kind of trying to maximize opportunities, got the Fox Sports station to hire me to hold the parabolic mic on the field and, see what that control room was all about. Didn't really see a future there for me, though, as far as I have a lot of friends who went and worked in broadcast production for sports, and that's a pretty cool path too. But working for the newspaper, working on the student-run cable access channel, like it's usually the extracurriculars I found through life that like are what really get you the skills and the exposure. Schoolwork, classwork, when you have a program like what you guys clearly have there in Colville, that's awesome. But you can always find opportunities when you're willing to show up and put in a little extra effort too. So after graduating, I was fortunate to get a Spokane-based production company to hire me as a 19-year-old, with very little experience, and worked in a number of roles there. I was there for about 8 years. Worked in their commercial department, volunteered for their movie department, and helped grow their nonfiction department. I wore roles of editor, producer, director, grip. That's always a fun one, right? That gets you in the door. So a bit all over, and at a point I decided, you know what, working 40 hours a week just isn't enough for me. I'm going to start my own business on the side. And so my boyfriend and I, who's now my husband, we started doing weddings on the weekend, which is another great entry-level track for people who love making films. It's got its own high pressure, right? It's the most important day of a lot of people's lives, and you get to make a movie about it. It's a great way to cut your teeth. So we did that for a couple of years until I left that other production studio and went all in on building something of our own, which is now 14 years in at Rogue Heart Media. And we have a lot of different clients. We do a lot of different projects. If you think about it, the year I graduated was the year YouTube started. So a lot has changed. And what was once, feature-length films were long form at 84 minutes. Now I have clients who think 7 minutes is too long for a story, and attention spans get shorter and shorter. You talked about my bio that Tina read. It was 30-second PSAs is maybe the shortest thing we do. Now I'm delivering videos that are literally 5 seconds long. Like, who would have thought, right? So a lot has evolved, which is why kind of leaning into those skills of adaptability, collaboration, like so many different career tracks, relationships are really key to growing in any field you choose. Being willing to grow and change along with the times. So.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Megan. And we do have some examples of Megan's work that we will share with you right now, just to give you an idea of when she's talking about these different types of products that she's producing, what that looks like.
Creativity is a life-affirming process in all its forms.
لنعمل معا لبناء مجتمع صحي.
You can't be what you've never seen. It's important for young people to understand that they have support systems that will help them get to the places that are unknown.
When I think of college, the first word I think of is work.
I haven't decided which college yet, but I'm looking at majoring in construction management.
Would love to major in pre-med or nursing.
Major in kinesiology to be a physical therapist.
But really sitting down and establishing what is your why. It's one thing to say that, hey, I want to go to college and I want to do this. What is your true why? This is something that is really inside of you. It's allowed me to have a connection with students that stretches more than just for college.
As much as it's great to get their college degree, it's really about helping them achieve their life goals and really helping them support their families and giving back to their community as well.
A lot of kids that are around my age, they don't think that they're going to make it to 18. College Success Foundation and their advisors, they're very in tune with resources within colleges and high schools.
It's like it's a stepping stone because it's going to help you out, help you grow especially.
This is not a short-term, quick win thing. This takes time. We start with students in middle school and go all the way through college completion. So that can be a 12-year relationship that a student might have with CSF. That is what it requires to do this work and do it well.
Don't lose sight of the evening's light. I can almost make out the shape of your eyes. Hold me close as your roaring ghost picks me up and carries away my mind.
Truly, right? Yeah, it's really some fantastic work. I mean, the combination of storytelling and the stunning visuals is really impressive, and it takes a lot of planning and work to make that product look so amazing and really tell that story. So thank you so much, Megan, for sharing that with us. And at this point, we've talked quite a bit. Megan shared some of her story and a few tips, and you've seen a little bit of her work. And so we'd like to actually turn it over to our student guests. And so we'll start the question and answer portion of the event. Again, we won't be taking any questions through chat today. So with that, Colville High School, what is your first question for Megan?
I had a question about how important college experience is to getting into video production. And if you are going to college, what are some programs and like what should you really focus on majoring in?
So within the industry, I do feel like there are a lot of shops that would require a degree. However, life experience, project experience, having a solid reel, there are so many stories of content creators who have, just shown the value of their work and their creativity and have been able to forge their own path. Additionally, like if you want to select more of that business pathway, nobody's checking your resume for your GPA in that course. However, with our area schools, we have some really solid production tracks accessible. I know I talked a little bit about WSU prior, which was my alma mater, and actually I'm sitting with a few fellow grads here on the other side of this screen who are part of the KSPS team. Go Cougs! It really is a wonderful program that is, world renowned for journalistic integrity and just staying up on the technical requirements of the industry. So can't speak highly enough about that. Our community colleges, though, as well, like we have a wonderful digital filmmaking program that is a 2-year degree pathway, and we host a intern or two from that program every spring. We actually, as Rocart Media, we started a scholarship of our own. We realized there were no media scholarships yet within the Spokane colleges, and so now we have a community digital filmmaking scholarship that's available for your senior year there. So definitely, I think college pathways are helpful because they not only expose you to some of the tools and the structure around understanding what it takes to complete projects and work together in groups, But again, it's that broader environmental exposure to the extracurricular opportunities. Some of my favorite projects at WSU came from joining the board of directors at the Cable 8, the student-run cable station, and I got the chance to do like commercials with local businesses and a documentary with like a psychology professor, and different extracurriculars that were just highly valuable. So yeah, it's worth exploring. I'm also like so curious and eager to learn more about your program there, because I'm looking at those tools you have in front of you. You guys clearly have some great experience and exposure already, which is awesome.
Okay, next question.
Ashton, my name's Ashton, and I just had a quick question about how often do you get different projects from people, and then what's your work environment there?
Awesome. Thanks, Ashton. Yeah, so we have so many projects. Part of making this shop run is we have 10 to 15 projects going on at any given time. And it's always fun. I kind of get nerdy about like spreadsheets and stuff. I track so much more than I probably need to. But that first video you saw in the reel there, we actually know how many videos did we produce last year. And it was 129 over the course of 1 year in a shop with 4 people. So that's pretty cool, I think. As far as like diversity of projects, we, like I said, work with like 10 to 15 clients at any given time. When they come to us, the needs are usually pretty vague, and we help them define even like what is it that will actually serve the purpose of whether it's a fundraising event. How do we create a piece that serves their needs and tells their story within lots of creative constraints, or maybe the pathway is broadcasting still, where it's the TV stations are telling us the creative constraints that it has to be 30 seconds in this format. There's just so much variety in the work, which keeps us all really enjoying it every day, the kind of never knowing what to expect or what hat you're going to wear. So the work environment in that same vein is very it's very flexible. We are very collaborative. So like I'm sitting here in like a conference room where we spend a lot of time with more of the pre-production stage of the work. I'm sure you guys probably know the stages of production, right? You have like pre-pro is the planning, the script writing, the coordinating, the defining the vision for the piece, and making sure all the pieces will align for production, which is when you're actually capturing it on whatever tools are right for the job. And sometimes you're working with the A7 there, and it's the DSLR package, and it's small and it's nimble, and other times it's a lot more gear you got to set up, and audio is more critical, and then you have post-production, right, where you come back to the edit room and help it all come together. So we have a work environment that accommodates all of those stages. If you all ever come to Spokane and want to do a little field trip, it'd be fun to show you around. But we have a couple edit suites, and we have a voiceover booth with the kind of soundproofing, so you can go in and sound all cool. We have lots of offices, because that's another part of the job. It's so fun to do invoicing and payroll and pay your taxes and all those great things too. So computers everywhere, but also a great kitchen. I'm very proud of our break room. We take a lot of pride in having a good balanced day where we take our breaks and we enjoy our meals. And these days we enjoy the back patio too, with this beautiful sunshine. So it can be a good environment. When I got out of school first, my office was basically a broom closet with with the edit system, and it doesn't have to be the dark cave anymore. So that's kind of nice. Did I answer your question, Ashton, or do you have a follow-up?
I think you answered it pretty well.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, who has the next question for Megan?
Tilly.
I'm Tilly, and my question is like, cause like for us we have like our video production class that kind of introduces us to like a few things, but like if you were to like be going to school for this, like going to college, like do you guys like have did you guys do specific courses you took in college for this?
Yeah, so there were definitely very hands-on classes in college, which was again 20 years ago for me now, so it's not super fresh anymore. But I mean, we had studio production classes where you had to rotate through the different roles, right? So you had one time where you'd be like camera operator, and then you had to be talent, and then you had to be on the audio board, and then you had to be on the switcher, or maybe you were the studio manager where you were calling out the different shots. I'm trying to remember. Oh my God, that was ages ago, you guys. But yeah, and then you have writing courses and you have courses in editing and interviewing. But again, I would say all of those, because you're just getting a taste of everything, none of them individually go deep enough for you to really necessarily feel like that full confidence of like, okay, I'm ready to hit the road and get my first job. Like you all have probably heard the theory of like the 10,000 hours, right, to master something. Like it really comes down to how much time you're willing to put into it. And so you don't need to wait for that college course. You know, you don't, if you have access to a camera, chip away on those 10,000 hours now, right? You know, figure out what is the project that's going to bring you joy to experiment with, and get more time practicing on the tools. I always love the idea that the best camera isn't the newest, crispest, you know, most fancy one. The best camera is the one you have access to. It's like, just get out there and start making stuff. And you'll be shocked, you know, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years later, when you look back on your prior work and you're like, oh my gosh, I was so happy with that then, but look how far I've come. Like it's so much better now. And you only get there by, you know, clocking that time. So yeah, just you got buddies. You know, I can't wait to see what kind of things you guys make.
Hey, next question.
Another question I had was how reliable is like the filmmaking industry as like a career choice, and like how difficult is it to get into that industry?
Yeah, we're experiencing a lot of changes. I alluded to some that I've already experienced, but of course we have influences right now that are leaving things kind of challenging. Whenever there's an economic downturn, marketing, communications, entertainment, things like that tend to be one of the first things that people skinny up on. You know, if you don't have money for groceries, you're not going to pay to go to the movie theater probably. And that's also true for businesses. If they are hardly keeping the lights on, they're not going to be paying for a marketing campaign. So there are concerns around just the tightening up of the industry. We have influences like AI, that are also chipping away at some jobs. Mostly, I would say, you know, you see like voiceover and graphic generation and even stock footage generation. Like there's some elements that are going to have their impact, and we're going to see the fallout in the next handful of years. But there's also more need for story than ever before, right? It is how we connect and how folks consume the news and connect over the issues in their local community. YouTube is still the, you know, the largest search engine now. You know, people want to learn and connect and consume entertainment mostly mobilely and through video. So our client types may change, like the products themselves may change. But yeah, I would say as far as forging a career path, it still comes down to your own personal passion. Like if this is what you feel called to do, then you will find a path. If it's more like assessing, you know, hey, I kind of enjoy working with the camera, or I like the idea of movies, you know, and you want to explore it, and maybe that's a more subtle burn for you. It may not be the best gamble, like, you know, because it's not a choice without risk. So, and that's always been true, right? And I think that's true for most art-oriented career pathways, right? We've probably all got an adult in our lives who doesn't think it's the smartest choice. And maybe if you just got a degree in accounting, you'd feel some security, right? There are certainly more traditional ways to seek a paycheck. But if you feel called towards storytelling, there's always going to be a need, and there's going to be a need for those who are passionate enough to keep pushing themselves to learn, improve, stay up on, the newest tools and progress the industry forward as well. So, yeah.
This is kind of our last question, and I'll ask it for the class, and it's with regard to teamwork and getting outside of our comfort zone. All of these students have their strengths. They have their partners they like working with. How important is it to work outside of our comfort zone and partner up with people we normally wouldn't, or take on a role within a production that isn't really our strong suit?
That's a great question. I think that exposure to the various roles will only help you in even your chosen role to understand more, like the walking a mile in someone else's shoes, right? If I've never had to focus on being responsible for audio, for example, then I'm not going to have the same empathy for what that role requires. The considerations that might need to take place on set to make sure that they can succeed in their role if I've never had to be under those headphones and be responsible for that task. So yeah, I think playing the field, so to speak, trying all the different positions so that you understand how all the pieces come together is very, very valuable. For me personally, I started out more in the pre-production and post-production space. I was a very enthusiastic editor. I loved the opportunity to bring the pieces together and make the final product. And with that, it made sense to help be part of the planning. But I was probably 8 or 9 years into my career before I started actually being the one to handle the camera. And that was definitely outside my comfort zone and was a big undertaking to convince those in power that I should be given a shot. And since, I'm just so grateful because it's informed everything that I do. And even in interviewing, to be able to come in and ask questions from the perspective of an editor. How will this end up telling the story? What are the gaps? What am I missing that I can reframe and share another question so that I have the pieces that I need in post-production? So yeah, I think the more exposure you can give yourself to all of the pieces is definitely going to be for your strengthening. And then collaboration, working with a variety of people. Depending on the type of work you find yourself in, you don't always get to control who your collaborators are. And sometimes you have wonderful partners, and sometimes you think you have wonderful partners. And then you realize this is going to be a difficult project. This is maybe going to be a difficult client or stakeholder. And so having the kind of communication skills and the interpersonal skills to be able to navigate those relationships that maybe need a little more work or a little more assertiveness, or maybe a little bit more flexibility. Humans are complicated. And I think you see that in this realm, especially in the documentary world. I'm going to be honest, everything here for me is unscripted. You don't know what you're going to be walking into on a given day, especially depending on the types of documentaries. You can only plan so much. So being willing to be just another fellow human who has, kind of their heart on their sleeve and willing to connect in the present moment and roll with the influences of whatever the stresses of the day, I think is a real key tool here. The skills needed for scripted work that is more about perfecting each shot and taking that deliberate intention on the production. We were having fun setting this space up for y'all of just to see the little touches that bend in the corner there. It's got our orange little gel to balance my beautiful mural, and I've got my little negative space here that I'm supposed to be filling, and eyeline here. It looks so nicely framed. And if I or I start screwing with things and it just kind of feels stressful and clunky, right? I mean, there's so much that goes into the decision making. And in the documentary space, we think of it as like we're minimizing distractions. We're focusing on the things that matter, and we're highlighting elements that might help the viewer to further connect with the content that we're sharing. And so there's a lot of responsibility with that. I find that to be one of the coolest parts of this job is the opportunity to bring dignity and beauty and pride to presenting somebody who is not a trained actor, right? Who's coming in as just a fellow human and who doesn't want to maybe even be in front of the camera, but you're going to help them feel comfortable. You're going to help them feel pride in their story and how they presented themselves. And so that's not a small responsibility. I think that's a pretty amazing thing to be entrusted with. And so if you are enthusiastic and passionate about those kinds of connections and the chance to help somebody see themselves reflected in art in a way that feels true to who they are, then this could be a really great career path for you.
Paulville, do you have additional questions for Megan? Okay. I
ask? Oh gosh, sorry, Tina.
Go ahead, Megan. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'd love to ask, like, what are the parts of production that each of you are most interested in? Like, what have you found to be the thing that kind of is either creatively engaging or that you find curiosity in?
What do you like doing, you guys? Yeah, you want to go down the line?
Yeah, let's hear from everybody. Everyone should have to speak up. I'm doing too much talking.
Say your first name and say either what you like, what part of production you like, the production process, or say what your favorite project has been, one of the two.
My name is Kale. So I kind of like, like bringing in all the footage you've gotten onto like Premiere Pro or whatever, something, and just making something out of all the shots that you've gotten. Like the last project I did, I was like making an interview for a blood drive. I thought it was just really interesting, like putting everything together.
Wonderful. Sounds like a good cause too. Good job.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm Gage Forster, and my probably favorite part of video production has been the editing part of Premiere Pro, especially since we got the new computers. It's so much smoother. I also like adding music to my videos. There's that.
Yeah.
I'm Mia. I most like doing camera operating. I really just like getting that perfect angle, and I don't know, I just really like just the production world and like just filming things and getting to know people through like behind the camera and like seeing like, oh, this is how the viewers are going to see this person or see this event or thing. But yeah, that's what I'm special.
I'm Luke. Things I like doing most in video production are like the filming process and being behind the camera. And I also really love script writing, even though we haven't done like a ton of that in this class. It's something I'd be interested in working on more.
Nice. Awesome.
I'm Madeline. I'm actually just the TA, but I like the creativity of like people's videos, and I also like being behind the camera. So
excellent.
I'm William. I like do like the editing and like visual effects, like Adobe After Effects. I really enjoyed it.
Wonderful.
I'm Leilani, and I like doing like the short film projects. It's very fun.
Cool.
I'm Tilly, and I think what I like doing most in video production when we go scouting for locations, because it's like fun to like visualize what's the plan like of what we're gonna be filming and all. It's also like it's nice to just find different locations either in school or even outside of school.
I'm Trinity, and I like being behind the camera and going and getting like B-roll, because you can kind of like just wander around and like let ideas pop in your head. And I also like editing and doing like animations for it.
Wow.
My name's Allie. I really like just pre-production, like planning the whole thing, making a connection with your talents or your clients, and just kind of getting a feel for your new project, and then being able to scout the location and just visualize everything before you execute.
I'm Ashton, and I like being behind the camera and directing the set. I have an image in my head, and I always have these fun, creative images that I make up in my head about the film, and I try to recreate it with the actors as best as I can. So then I can make really cool action films or drama films, anything like that. I just try to use my creativity to decide enough to make a really good film.
Amazing. It sounds like we have some incredible visionary people in this class. Like, and like you said, Rob, I mean, just like as far as different leanings for preferred roles, like y'all have a pretty well-rounded crew there, I would say.
Yeah, it was
I didn't hear
fantastic.
anyone say they loved audio though. That could be a trouble.
It was fun to hear the energy behind their answers as well. That was really fun.
I like matching,
AirPod.
so that counts as audio, right? I like matching my video up with music that I choose. That counts as audio, I guess. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So there is, at least there used to be, I think there still is an audio technician pathway at Spokane colleges as well, that they get into Pro Tools and that more in-depth audio mixing or sweetening kind of space. And that is such a, like, an under-celebrated part of our world, right? I mean, a lot of people, they watch stuff on their phone now and maybe they turn captions on and they're not maybe experiencing that sound space in the average everyday life, but there are so many projects that they're made or broken based on the audio mix and the quality of how it was recorded in the first place, and then how compelling of a mix it is with sound effects and music selection and all of that. So yeah, power to you. That's such an important part of the business as well. And locations were mentioned by Tilly there. Like, I mean, there's whole departments for movies. There's just, it's locations and like transpo even. Like I had friends, who their whole role was coordinating transportation for people to and from set to those locations. And it takes, the larger crew productions, it takes a lot of moving parts and a lot of different specialties. So and there's a lot of people working very hard to make sure that Washington has a thriving film industry and creative economy. So we're doing what we can to make sure that there is work for not only ourselves, but for the next generation of filmmakers coming through. That's true at the state level too, and making sure we have a healthy film incentive to make sure projects are coming into our region. So there's so many different scales of work. I know we alluded to it a bit, but whether it's the full, feature-length film route, or whether it's working with your local blood drive and other nonprofits, they need their stories told too. And to be honest, some of those can be the most fun, because as natural as it might be to you all to have a vision that you can see in your mind how you want this shot to look, or how you could see this project coming together. There's a lot of people that's not how their minds work, and that's not their strong suit. And to be able to come into those spaces and support them with a piece of artwork, a story that reflects their impact in the community, is very rewarding work. They'll be the first ones to tell you they can't do it on their own. They need somebody to come in and be that storyteller for them. So if you can be that person, that's awesome.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan, for all of the time and the information and the advice and wisdom that you've shared with the students today. I do want to quickly mention that we asked Megan earlier if she might be willing to connect with any students who have additional questions after this event. And so she's very open to that. As you can tell, there's a lot of experience that she could share with you. So Brent, feel free to reach out to me if any students would like to connect with her after the event and set up a time to discuss more what it means to be a filmmaker. So I think we're getting towards the end of the event. We just have a couple of minutes here. So I'd like to quickly thank our special guest, Megan Schuyler Kennedy from Rogue Heart Media, again, for taking time to visit with us today. And we covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time. And I'm so appreciative of all the information, the experience, the tips, the guidance that you provided to the students today. It's been an invaluable session. And once more, I'd like to thank Brent Purvis and the students from Colville High School for joining us today. Great questions. We appreciate you having those ready. And we're excited to see where you take your careers after you get out of high school and launch into the industry. So to close, we hope you all found this session very interesting, informative. Students, we especially hope what you learned today will help you to decide if a career in filmmaking or other related parts of this creative industry is right for you. And now, once again, here's Rebecca Clemens from GSI.
I'd like to say thank you for joining us here on our Career Explorer Northwest Live, a business after school event. On behalf of Greater Spokane Incorporated and Career Connect Northeast, we hope today's session help you explore some various career paths, connect with the amazing professionals, and gain valuable insights into what you would like to do with the future. We are proud to partner with KSPS PBS, bringing these experiences to life and supporting your journey towards success. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and we look forward to seeing where your path leads next. If you have ideas or for a speaker or different careers you would like highlighted, please make sure to let your teacher know. He knows how to get in touch with us.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and to the whole GSI team. And that concludes this Career Explorer Northwest Live and Business After School program.